Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good late afternoon, man. It is your boy Lewis, man, on the Lbfwn, man. I appreciate you guys for coming through if you happen to. And once again, I am back once again with another heavy banger with yet another video. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see on the thumbnail, you have on the overlay, you have MJ, Walt Clyde Frazier, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant. What do all of these guys have in common? Well, there were some comments made by Walt Clyde Frazier just a couple of days ago. Well, to be honest with you, this actually came out about a month ago, but for some reason, ESPN decided to talk about it now. But before I get started, man, shout out to my man Anthony L in the building. What is good? And ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to, there is the link if you want to come onto the StreamYard and talk about this topic. I would love to get. And I told you, Anthony L, appreciate you, bro. He says, "What is good, Lewis?" And if you want to come on, let me know, man, and just hop on the StreamYard if you can, and just let me know. But ladies and gentlemen, before I get started, and he's been so patiently waiting backstage. Speak your mind, sports talk. D, the Godfather Jefferson, up in the building, man. What is up, bro?
What's up? What's up, Lewis? What's good with you on this good Christmas Eve day?
On this Christmas Eve day, man, it's just been a really busy day. Just a lot of, just a lot of cleaning, shopping, and things like that nature. I was able to get all of that stuff done, anticipating these Christmas games that we're going to be doing tomorrow. So how's everything with you? How is your day going, my man?
Oh, it's going good, man. I hadn't really got a lot done. Just kind of been resting and kicking back. I didn't put out one video today yet, but just thought I'd stop by. You know what I mean? Get on with my man Lewis. But look, I'm on my phone and it's messing up. So let me switch over to my computer. I'm gonna jump back on in a second.
Oh, really? I didn't even know you could do it on the phone because every time I try to do it on my phone, it doesn't really like do it. So
Well,
you would have.
you can't run the stream from your phone, but you can join the stream from your phone.
Oh, really? That's right. That's
Yeah,
interesting. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Um,
But I'm gonna jump right back on in a second though.
all right, no doubt, man. So I'll be
All
waiting for you anyway. So
right.
like I said, man, shout out to Anthony L. He says, "What is good? What is good, bro?" G Money says, "What is good? What's up?" No doubt. G Money says also, Sixers will play their first Christmas home game for the first time since '88 when they face the Bucks tomorrow. Oh, I didn't know that. My man Gideon once again with the NBA fun facts. Appreciate you, man. Anthony L says, "What is good, D?" Obviously, man. So yo, and shout out to you and happy birthday, man. I'm blessed, that you have another year of life, man. I wish you nothing but health, happiness, safety, and success, man. Appreciate you, man. So I hope you're enjoying your birthday, no doubt. Thankful for another year. I'm sorry. I said 38, 33. I'm sorry, man. But once again, God is good. 33 years young, man. Everybody, man, sing a happy birthday to my man Anthony L, man. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Well, I'm not gonna go that far, but you got my point though. But I just don't want to put you on the spot. But once again, man, happy birthday to Anthony L in the building. My man Freddie Yee is in the building. He says happy cake day, Anthony L. Appreciate you, Freddie. Like I said, I left the link on top if you guys want to. So just give me a second. D is gonna join me, and then if anybody else wants to jump on this panel, this is a very interesting topic that I thought that we would love to get to talk. And so, like I said, so ladies and gentlemen, hop on through if you want. Let me know who is in the building. If you hopefully there's some more people that will come through in the chat. And if you guys want to, like I said, just hop on the StreamYard that I left the link in the chat. And then you just hop on through. Let me know when you guys come in. And then hopefully I can get you guys to come in. So G Money says the biggest loss on Christmas was 29, Thunder crushed the Knicks in 2014. Did you see the Rockets or the Nugs winning by 30 or more? I mean, it's definitely possible. I don't know for sure, but definitely possible. G Money says, enjoy your birthday. Uh, Freddie says, what's good, Sweet Lou in the chat. Shout out, Freddie. Are you working on this Christmas Eve, bro? Let me know. And Anthony L says, appreciate that. Freddie Gee says, you still ain't off the hook for the Suns either. Of course, he wasn't going to be. G Money says the Nugs will play for the first time since 2013, and the Pels will be on Christmas for the first time since 2015, 2016. Damn, I see G Money's been on the NBA research lab. Considering that, man. Happy birthday and shout out to G Money with the birthday, as also with Anthony L. Man, appreciate that. Anthony L also says, whatchamacallit, oh, hey, win or lose, I'm a rider, man. I got to stick by what I said about the Suns. Hopefully they could pick it up the second half of the season. You see, man, and thanks. Whatchamacallit. Awesome, Freddie. Awesome. Off for the next 3 days, man. So, yo, make sure you come for these Christmas games. We got Celtics, Raptors, and we got Lakers, Clippers. I know everybody's looking forward to those games. And by the way, if anybody must know, AD and LeBron are expected to play on Christmas Day. So just to give you guys the heads up, I will be doing another video tonight, and I hope you guys can come through. This is going to be more so on NBA news topics, and we'll get to invite some people and get to see what you guys think about these NBA topics. If anybody wants to come through on this one, I'd be more than happy. Like I said, the link is up in the chat for those who want to come through. And Freddie says, "Nah, we off." Okay. And Freddie says, "Also, off days are for the next 3 days." Shout out to Freddie G with them off days, man. Little mini vacay right there. And he says, "Shout out to Anthony L. Respect." Hey, Anthony L., you're not the only one, man. I said the Phoenix Suns were gonna be one of those that'll probably make the playoffs too. So you're not the only one, bro. They haven't, lived up to par, but hey, man, shout out to my man Sean in the building. He says, "What's good? What's up to you, Sean? Yo, what's up? Hope everything is good with you, brother." I picked the Suns too, but they haven't, played up to par. DeAndre Ayton was out. We'll see what the Suns are like with a fully healthy Sun squad. I'm gonna still pick them to make the playoffs, but if they don't, I'm gonna eat my crow, man. That's all it is, man. Like Anthony L says, I'm gonna keep up my word. He's keeping up his word. I'm gonna keep up my word. If they don't make the playoffs, I'm gonna just take that L, man, just like the L in my name, and just eat that crow. And this is not the L of the good kind. So, shout out to Sean. G Money says, "What's good? Raptors will play their second Christmas game and their first Christmas home game when they face the Celtics at home. Sadly, Spicy P, Powell, and Marcus Gasol won't play on Christmas." Yeah, that's the bad part about it, man. And I got to see how much the Raptors will have in the tank, considering how much energy they've had to waste the last 2 games with coming down from 30 against the Mavericks and then coming down by double digits against the Pacers and made a hell of a game, honestly, of it. And he says the Wolves will lost their 11th straight by losing to the garbage Warriors. Do you think the Wolves can make the playoffs? I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Shout out to my man Josh the Goat in the building. He says, "What is good, Lewis?" Yo, Josh, haven't seen you in a minute. What's good? Yo, bro, would you like to come on this stream on this topic? I would love for you to come through. I left the link right here in the chat for anybody who wants to come through. And if you must know the topic, it's about Walt Frazier's comments about the Mount Rushmore, as he was talking about. So if anybody wants to come through, just let me know. If they can. Let's see. And Merry Christmas to you, Josh, and Merry Christmas to everybody in the chat as well. So in the meantime, was there any sports team that you hated? Before I get into any of that, well, the one true sports team that I hate is the Boston Red Sox, and that's baseball. So, Freddie G says, Gideon says, nah, I'm so disappointed in the T-Wolves. That was my sleeper pick to get the 6 to 8 seed and to possibly make some noise in the playoffs. It's like I said about the Timberwolves, man. It's Cat and it's Wiggins. Those two guys, in my opinion, I mean, that's not the only reason that the Timberwolves have been bad, but it's a main reason why they've been so bad. I just feel like, again, both guys, to me, they don't really set the tempo when it comes to these guys. All right, so if anybody wants to get through, let me know. Like I said, I left the link right up here in the chat. And again, if you look at the ticker, guys, it's not required, but if you would like, you can Cash App if you guys want right there. The Cash App is right there on the ticker. If you guys want a Cash App, it's up to you. You don't have to. It's an option. You don't have to, but if you would like to, it's right there on the ticker that's showing up on the overlay on the screen. So let's get on to today's topic. So Walt Clyde Frazier, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, anybody who wants to come up on here, let me know. Hopefully I see you in the studio and you guys can hop on board. My man D the Godfather Jefferson will be here shortly. And there he goes. So D, shout out to you, brother. Back on there I see on the laptop or whatever it is on there.
Yeah, I'm on my laptop now, bro. That phone was on. responding right. I was getting a little feedback and static, so I just jumped on the laptop right quick.
Gotcha. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, D, would you like to say hi to the public in the chat, man?
Yes, yes. What's up, everybody? Y'all, hope y'all enjoying y'all holidays. Everybody stay safe. Drink inside. Don't drive. But enjoy yourselves.
No doubt, no doubt. Sean says, I'm gonna come through. Excellent job, Sean. Appreciate that, man. Hopefully to see you on here. Just like I said, just look at the link at the very top in the first part of the chat. And you definitely will come through. So I'll be checking you out. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got D the Godfather Jefferson speaking my sports talk. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel. And also, like I said, Sean. So Sean is gonna be here. So this will actually be the first time we've gotten to see Sean up on the on the LBFWN. Appreciate everybody. So before I continue with the comments, let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. So
what's up, Freddie G, my brother? Go ahead, Louis.
Shout out to Freddie G and shout out to G Money. I'll check your guys' comments in a sec. So, ladies and gentlemen, and D, I wanted to get your thoughts on this because this is a very, very interesting one. So these comments were made a month ago. But you know how ESPN likes to do. They like to bring up a lot of old shit, right? So they like to bring a lot of old stuff. So recently, today on ESPN, so this was brought up. So this is about basically how Walt Clyde Frazier, the all-time great Walt Clyde Frazier, for those who don't know, played pretty much his career with the Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Played from 1967 to 1980. So it says that he doesn't have LeBron James on his Mount Rushmore. So this is, to me, is going to be very interesting. So I just want to read a little bit to what he was saying. I'm not going to read pretty much the entire article. I'm just going to get to the parts of where he talks about. So basically what this is saying, and I want you guys to listen in. And like I said, anybody who wants to jump on board, left the link up. You're more than welcome to come. I got Sean coming through. It says again, so remember that when LeBron beat the 2016 Cleveland Golden State Warriors, that they were 73-9 and all that. It's brought up the conversation the last couple of seasons with LeBron versus MJ, due to the fact that he beat Golden State. And so what's happening is that now they're basically saying that when you have a Mount Rushmore, and I know D. Jefferson knows this very well, you're talking about arguably the top 4 players in NBA history. And we obviously have a top 10 list of all-time greatest players, and we've had so many all-time greats who have played in NBA history. But the Mount Rushmore comes down to 4 players. As D has always said, that this is a very subjective argument, but we know people who tend to be biased towards their guy will obviously think that their list is credible. And like I said on this channel, listen, it's all about respect. We respect the list. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter who you guys think, because again, at the end of the day, it's subjective, even though there will be people unanimous. So let me read on Walt Clyde Frazier what he says right here. And then D, I want to get your thoughts on it, and then people in the chat, and we'll kind of have fun with this. So he goes, and I quote, "Curry was the only unanimous MVP. They should apologize to Russell and Chamberlain for what they did for the game and the dominance that they had. Jordan is up there too, well deserved. LeBron, I don't think, is right up there with those guys. He's not on Mount Rushmore, but Kareem, Chamberlain, and Russell and Oscar Robertson, in his opinion, those guys were magnificent in what they did for the game. And what I'm guessing is this is who he has on his Mount Rushmore as the 4 greatest to ever play the game. So let me just go on a little bit. It says it makes sense that Frazier, who played from 67 to 1980 in his NBA seasons, would only include players from his era of basketball, leaving off even Michael Jordan. His argument for this grouping is that those 4 did more for the game of basketball than anybody else. So, ladies and gentlemen, starting with D. Jefferson, what are your thoughts on Walt Clyde Frazier saying that those 4 players, in his opinion, are the Mount Rushmore players in NBA history? Your thoughts? You're on mute, D. D, you're on mute.
My bad. Here's the thing, Walt Frazier, and I empathize with him when we talk about the guys that were not in basically the era that he's accustomed to, because we kind of have the same fight and battle with the new age fans concerning LeBron James. You got what people have to realize is that a lot of these lists and top tens are subjective and opinionated. And when you look at a guy like Walt Frazier, he played in the era and watched these guys play. And so I don't agree with him, but at the same time, I can understand and empathize where he's coming from. And again, I just attribute it to what's going on with LeBron James right now. One person that he has a good argument with is Kareem. Everyone else, I mean, there's things to debunk that. But no, I don't agree with what Walt Frazier said. Jordan has to be on Mount Rushmore, and in my opinion, he's the George Washington. You know what I mean? Like he's right there. You know what I'm saying? So Jordan has to be there. But listen, man. Walt is an older guy, and things were different in Jordan's era the same way things are different in the era today. You have people comparing James Harden and Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James to Jordan, and we know that that's utterly ridiculous. And what people have to understand is that these basketball players, they're still people as well, and they have their own biases. And Walt actually played the game, but he played the game where it was tougher for especially African Americans to compete than it was for Jordan. The same way it was tougher for Jordan, versus the bad boys and all of them to compete than it is for LeBron James and those guys. You know what I mean? And so that's probably why Walt Frazier feels that way, because they didn't have it as tough as those guys had it. You know what I'm saying? But Jordan's skill and what he was able, I think, transcends to any era. And that's why I can't agree with what Walt is saying. I can't agree with that, because literally, Jordan, you think about any era, the Russell era, the New Age era now, Jordan would have been phenomenal in any era.
All right.
That's just my idea on it.
We're gonna extend this conversation because I think it's a real interesting one. But before I start, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, shout out to this brother right here, one of my true supporters, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you guys to Sean. So my man Sean, welcome to the Lbfwn. Appreciate you, brother, for coming through. Happy for you to be here on this live stream. Got my man D Jeff up in here, man. So yo, welcome, man. How's your day going? And Merry Christmas to you, bro.
What's up, Sean? First time with you, bro.
What's up, guys? Merry Christmas for both of y'all. My day is okay. I buy something light for shopping, but it's all good.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. So I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you were hearing the quote. Do you want me to go through the quote again, or did you hear what the quote was on what Walt Clyde was saying?
I skimmed through the article. Yeah, I read I read the quote from one of those articles. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a generational thing. It's just what it is. With his perspective, and I'm not mad at that, especially from a guy who has been in basketball for a long while. His opinion is always going to be different from other people. So I'm not taking it seriously, or just ain't mad to scratch. He considered guys like West to be as great to him, and that's what it is. I also think Jerry West is also great too, but I also will say that for me, I don't consider him, as far as Jerry West, guys like Jerry West will ever survive around like that Jordan era. Probably I think that Jerry West will be great in this era, especially how defense has gotten softened. But
right.
for me, it's like I don't really put Jerry West atop of like players that I just know that like okay, they're great. You know what I mean? I consider him a Laker legend, but I don't consider him like a top 10 player in my opinion. But yeah, that's my.
All right. So basically, I'm going to give him my opinion on this. It's the first part of this quote that really gets me right here. This is where I kind of disagreed with Clyde, and it was this part. First thing he says is, first part of this quote that really gets me right here. This is where hold on a second. I had an echo in the background. Okay. So the first part was right here. It says Curry was the only unanimous MVP. Now, as much as I agree with that quote in terms of what Curry is, what I don't agree with was that Clyde was kind of putting Curry up there in terms of because he was the unanimous MVP, it kind of holds merit as him possibly being a Mount Rushmore player. Like that is where I disagree with him on that. Now, people could probably be saying that, oh, that's probably not what he meant. And like you guys were saying, and I agree with you on what you guys were saying, that it holds merit in terms of the old school mentality in terms of what Clyde is talking about. And it's like because of the generation that he comes from and the era that he played in, he's going to hold guys like Robertson and Kareem and Bill and Will Chamberlain, in much more high regard. So, I can understand what he's saying that. So, but I think what it comes down to, and I think Freddie kind of touched up on it right here. When he says it in his comment right here, he says what he brings up. This is what I bring up all the time. He says older heads get mad at this generation, but our granddads hated MJ and said he was soft. Yep. This is what I agree with in Freddie's part. This is a lack of respect on both ends, and it's old heads looking at today's generation, and then on top of that, the new generation not paying respect to the people that came before them. That's why there's always going to be this issue, and because even Gilbert Arenas was kind of touching up on it in terms of the era, that he was basically, putting up on this era. And Sean, you bring up a good point on Jerry West, because Jerry West definitely would. He definitely would, flourish in today's game. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of guys in the past who you could put in today's game and you would say they would do great. They would definitely do great. And not only guys of the past, you would even say all-time team. There's a lot of teams that could definitely, play great in this era.
Yep.
So Anthony L also brought an interesting one. And I think when we go back, let me go back, and he says, let me see what he said. He was saying it right here. He says, I wonder if Walt is still a little salty over that comment he made about LeBron last season during that Knicks game, and how the media cronies attacked him for that. And for those who don't know what he's talking about, it was when LeBron was sitting at the very end of the bench and the Lakers were in the huddle. This was when Luke Walton was coach, and he looked like he was disinterested. And I think I think Tyson Chandler was right behind him. And so Walt Clyde kind of went off and saying that he didn't think that LeBron was showing really good leadership, and Anthony L believes that it could possibly be that Walt Clyde is piggybacking off of saying that LeBron doesn't deserve to be in the Mount Rushmore conversation from what happened to last year. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Anthony L's comment. Do you think that possibly could be an extension of what happened last year? And I want to start with you, Sean, and then D, you could piggyback up on that, and then I'll give my thoughts. So go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I think that's one of those. I think I look at it as a factor. Like LeBron James, like let's be real, like LeBron is not the best leader in the world. He does benefit on when the team is on a winning streak. He will do his part in order to be a part of that winning streak in order to take the glory. And I don't think that Walt respected that. He ran for LeBron James to take charge, and also in order for his team to scorch on and win, but instead he always take the credit. Even all he does is just stay in the background, knowing that regardless of what he does, he's always going to take credit. So yeah, I think that's I do agree with what Walt said.
Yeah, and another thing with LeBron James is when you look at like even some of the other players that Walt was talking about, the Jerry West, the Bill Russells, the Kareems, and in my opinion, Michael Jordan as well. This is why LeBron James plays his role in, I guess, general manager and tries to stack the deck because he needs people to rely on. Jordan would take the game over. Kareem would take the game over. Even Bill Russell, on defense, and you know what I mean. These guys would take the game over. LeBron needs that guy to defer to. He needs that. That's why he builds these teams. He needed the Ray Allen in that Spurs series. He needed the Wayne Wade.
True.
And those guys, you know what I mean? Those guys could take the game over, like Kobe Bryant could take the game over and put it away themselves. And when you look at it from that aspect, that's why I really can't agree with some of the things that Walt's saying. I can empathize and understand where he's coming from. But, LeBron James he's shown us that without that team around him. You look at Jordan, like when guys got hurt or something, the Bulls still freaking won. But when Anthony Davis just went down, what happened? LeBron couldn't perform. He can still, do what he do, but he ain't the guy that's gonna take that game and put the team on his back and win the game. You can't depend on LeBron to do that, in my opinion. Then you self-proclaiming yourself the GOAT. It's guys, I said this before, it's guys like Walt Frazier, the Michael Jordans, the Kareems. You slap them in the face when you self-proclaim the GOAT. It's these guys that are supposed to give you that acclamation. They're supposed to anoint you. You're not supposed to anoint yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So and D makes a good point on that. Because if you remember, and before I give my opinion on what Anthony L was saying real quick, and then I'm gonna check into the chat, and then I'm gonna bring up another discussion, which is gonna be really interesting. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Make sure to smash the like button as you come in, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to share the stream, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'm gonna go through all the comments and make sure everybody gets a fair shake on what we're talking about. So like D was saying, man, I definitely agree with him, and basically like I think that when you have this thing of where you have to allow the great players when you're currently playing to give you the nod and approval for when you're playing your basketball. Because the thing is, when we look at LeBron James, this dude is one of the greatest players of all time. There's no question about it. I don't care what anybody says. You can't tell me that this dude is not one of the greatest of all time. This guy's
it's okay. Everybody, keep going.
No. I said one of the greatest. I didn't say the greatest.
I know, but like, he is a great player. If I'm just as far as he is one of the greatest, but a lot of people overhype him into like top 3 and stuff. Like,
so this is where it gets. So Sean, this is where it gets interesting. Now,
right.
Anthony L basically said when he was saying that Walt was a little salty. Now, and it could be an extension of that, but I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know if you guys remember what he said about Kevin Durant. Also, he also said because Kevin Durant joined Golden State, that he can't consider Kevin Durant an all-time great. Now, when I'm listening to what he's basically saying with that is, he's looking at it from this perspective, and I know people are going to have different opinions on it, but I'm speaking of what possibly Walt Clyde Frazier's thinking. I think Walt Clyde Frazier's thinking that when you look at the paths, and yes, we are in a different era, so we got to take that into account, but he's taken into account that LeBron James and Kevin Durant, the paths that they took to win titles, and the teammates that they played with, which is all-star, superstar type players, whatever you want to make the case, whether they're similar or whether they're different. The bottom line is both of those guys did not win championships until they joined their respective teams, and that's the bottom line. Okay. Now, and they were both free agents. I know people are going to always try to make this difference in terms of how, that LeBron James went to South Beach and he joined Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Everybody knows that, and they became the Heatles and the most hated, the most villainous team of all time in one season in 2011. Then with Kevin Durant, he joined Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green all in their primes. Because if you look at what's so similar about both moves is they teamed up with with players that are either in their prime or about to enter their prime, and none of those players were even at the age of 30 yet. So if we look at any similarities, you can look at it right there. So I think what Clyde's looking at is that he's looking at the way that this new age style is, and it's like he understands where it is, but it's like, to me, low key, he doesn't appreciate it just because, remember, and as everybody has kind of mentioned, it's an old school mentality. And if you look at what Magic has said and all these guys have said, you know, we didn't have free agency back in the day. You know, we didn't have the opportunity to go team up with players who we wanted to team up with. And remember, the mentality was, I wanted to beat the best. You know, that was the difference. So you know, I think that's where kind of Clyde is speaking from. So let me look into the comments real quick before I kind of extend this conversation, because I think it's a really interesting one. So let's go down. So Freddie says, if Wilt said Kareem and MJ played in the softest era, imagine if he's seen today's NBA and technology. I wonder what he would say. I mean, Wilt has been very animate about that. So, you know, he said some things about MJ, but then he's also said some not so nice things about MJ, and basically how he feels like, you know, he's not the greatest. And this was before he passed away. He also says, I don't think the defense got soft. The NBA evolved. Players are shooting from 30 feet with ease and is stretching the defense like never before. Dudes in the 80s and 90s were not shooters. The truth. Well, okay, hold on. All right, D, I want you to start with this one. What do you think about what Freddie said right there on that comment?
I don't think defense got soft. The NBA evolved. Players are shooting from 30 feet with ease and stretching the defense like never.
Defense like never before. Dudes in the 80s and 90s were not shooters, and that's the truth.
Freddie G, you must have got started on drinking this holiday.
Eggnog?
He got some heavy rum in that eggnog too. Freddie, when you look at Steph Curry, right? And I would say Steph Curry, maybe Ray Allen. These guys are comparable to the best shooters of the 90s. But you give me some more names outside of Steph Curry, and I'm talking about those deep shooters. Bro, I will give you a hellified list. I mean, you could start with Hornacek, Mullen, Reggie Miller, Jordan himself. I mean, Kobe was playing back. These guys were shooters, bro. So I don't understand what you mean by they didn't have the shooters. I would lose count if I started to list the shooters. I will go back even farther than Jordan, and there was a guy, McAdoo, whose shot was damn near automatic, bro. So I just think, bro, you know, like we've got into this with you before, Freddie. You got to do a little more research on the old school before you make some of these comments. Defense is a lost art in today's game. More than you know, it's a lost art. It was literally 50-50 in the older eras. Literally, it was 50-50 in the older eras. In this era, it's more like 65-35, 65% offensively, you're going to win. But back then, it was 50-50, bro.
All right, Sean, what do you think about that comment that Freddie said?
I mean, man, it's obviously wrong. Like, I'm from this era, too, and also I say this era is soft, man. Like, come on. Yeah, defense it's not really that much defense. It's mostly offense game. Everything is all offense. Players are not putting that much effort to you know, just lessen the opponent's points. Like it's not really much of anything these days. It's just all shooting threes, pure offense. Who has the greater amount of points? Like it's barely even like a close game under 100 points now. So yeah.
Right. Defense was locked down back then. And you talk about the lowly one said they had hand checking in the old era, bro. You know, that's significant. You know, the hand check. Another thing, like hand part of the ball. You know, back then you could hit the hand, the wrist, all of that. And there was no fouls being called, dog. You breathe
Yeah,
on
that's true.
you breathe on a guy in today's era. They blowing that damn whistle, dog. So I mean,
Yeah, every time I watch the James Harden like his flop compilations, man,
yeah,
it should always be comedy, man. It's
right.
like somebody just touch him on the nose, and he just like felt like if he felt the force and shit.
It's a strategy. It's a strategy in today's era
It's
to
just so annoying. Like it's so
lift your arm.
overblown.
It's a strategy in today's era to lift your arms into the defender's arms to get a foul call, and the refs will blow the whistle, Freddie. Back then, if you lifted your arms into the defender's arms, you're not getting no whistle for that. That's a strategy these days. Look at how these guys fling their legs out to get the foul call. You're not getting no foul call for that back then.
Yeah, and also the funny part is that they're not even putting that much effort on like tricking the rules. It's just so obvious. It's just like whatever. The rest of like calling every call that looks like is like look kind of physical, and they just like leave it at that. It's just crazy.
That's a huge reason why the post game is not as effective and somewhat, not all the way, but somewhat obsolete in today's game. That's a big reason.
That's true.
Yeah, and shout out to Jay, because he mentioned this last night, and D mentioned it when we were doing the Raptors Pacers game, that post play is when you look at Kareem, and somebody had asked that why isn't the Skyhook a shot that's being used a lot in the NBA? And D made a great point. Basically, there's really no post play, and Jay was even piggybacking on what D was saying, and he's saying that that's a very difficult shot to master, which is true. That takes a lot of time and effort. Like when you look at Dirk. Like, do you know how much it took for him to practice that one-legged step back? And there's a reason why he did that. He did that so it made it harder to block his shot. But he perfected that shot, and a lot of guys were emulating that move. So Dirk was innovative in a sense. And Kevin Durant thanks Dirk Nowitzki a lot, because he basically says that he appreciates Dirk for the fact that you can have a 7-foot perimeter player, like Dirk, to be able to shoot it the way he does that, that it made it okay to play the way that he did. And that's why Durant has a lot of appreciation for Dirk. And he said that Dirk was actually one of his idols growing up, because of the fact that it's okay for you to be as tall as you are and be able to be effective on the perimeter, from the perimeter. Because if you look at Dirk's game, he evolved from a three-point shooter and staying in the perimeter all the time to actually mixing up his game and started playing a little more down as he got older in his career. And that's what you do. And that's what you do as you get older, when there are things that you can't do like you once did. You evolve. You add parts to your game to be able to have still an impact and be more effective. And as the game continues to evolve in its own right. So
Right.
I think that's important.
Freddie says, D Jeff, so you said today's game doesn't have inside post players. LOL, are you serious? Freddie, did I say today's game don't have any post players? No. But Freddie, you give me however many dominant post players that you can think of in today's game, and I will triple that when we talk about the 80s and the 90s. Easily, I will triple it. Because when you look at the post play in today's game, as soon as these guys, and I mean as soon as these guys get somebody to step down in there on defensive help, they're kicking the ball away. But Kareem, Akeem, Olajuwon, they would utilize their footwork and work through double teams in the post. You don't see that anymore. These guys kick that ball out. The post game is not, I mean, you don't have that effective post game. That's why the center position in today's game, Freddie G, they want them to be able to shoot the three. Because the post game is damn near nullified by the rules that they put into the game. You have to understand that.
Yeah. So let's go through the comments as we continue. And let me just say this real quick. People need to understand this, and I'm going to make this very clear. The 80s was a very physical era, but if you look at the pace of play, it's kind of similar in today's game. It's just the injuries weren't as frequent. And I could even go as far as saying that the 80s were not really much of a defensive era. Yeah, they had defensive players, but it really wasn't as defensive. Now, when we get to the 90s, that's a different story. The 90s was very defensive, especially when you go from the mid-90s to the early part of the 2000s. It was really difficult to score. very difficult to score points. Because in today's era, I believe when they showed I think they showed a stat of last year. Teams were averaging in this era, and as of last year, teams were averaging nearly 113 points per game. In the year of 97 alone, I believe teams on average were averaging close to anywhere from 95 to 97 points. That just tells you different rules back then. It was a different era, and it was very difficult to score points because as D was mentioning, what was utilized back then? Big men, post play. It was about the post. So it was really about the post play. So, that was really – so let's just go through the comments real quick, and then I'm going to make it interesting. So we're going to extend it to Mount Rushmore and to get people's opinions on Mount Rushmore and then, why they have them there. So Jonathan Diaz, and shout out to you, bro. He says, why do you think Magic is never even mentioned in the discussion? When it comes to the greatest player of all time, Magic is mentioned a lot. When it comes to Mount Rushmore, he definitely should be there, in my opinion, because of what he revolutionized at the point guard position, and especially his impact when he immediately came in the NBA. And you could even make the same case for even Larry Bird when he first came in. So Freddie says to smash that like button. Appreciate you, Freddie. Make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new right here on the LBFWN. And make sure you subscribe to my man D Godfather Jeff on Speaking My Sports Talk, man. Make sure you do that. And shout out to Troy Ingram. He says Jerry West knows talent. He's a top 5 GM, dead or alive. In my opinion, I call Jerry West the greatest GM of all time. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I definitely think that he's the greatest GM of all time, just with what he's been able to put together over the years when he's been, as a GM.
I agree.
Freddie says, Anthony, but if you had to pick 4, who you got, which is going to be the next conversation as we get on this next topic. So this is going to be interesting. He says, I don't have LBJ on my Mount Rushmore. And like I said, LBJ is an all-time great, but I don't have him on my Mount Rushmore either. And I have reasons for that. And it's like, if you have LeBron on your Mount Rushmore, you got to make a case for me as to why you do. And that's going to be the next topic as I go through these comments.
Yeah.
Jay says, today's 3 is a smart shot. Growing up, the 3 was a soft shot. Everybody wanted to bring theirs into the paint. Almost had to, or you got laughed at. Come in here where the big boys play. And in the 90s, it was about where the big boys play in the paint. We're talking about Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo. I could pretty much go on and on and on with those all-time greats. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone. It's a cream of the crop when it came to the 90s players, especially when it came to down there inside in the post. Freddie says all superstars have to take the credit. Half of Brady's Super Bowl wins. He's going to football now when it comes to the Patriots. The defense carried him, but yet he gets all the praise. It comes down.
Yeah, because he's the quarterback, man. What do you expect? The quarterback is always the superstar of the football team.
Well, if Brady plays at a quarterback level, and let's face it, Brady, all-time great when it comes to his Super Bowls, and he's got 6. But there's a lot of quarterbacks who you can make the case that are not, worthy, not going to get the credit. Just look at Jared Goff, for example, like on the Rams. That's a super talented team, but is he a superstar quarterback? I don't think so. So that'd be a perfect example right there. So going on, Jason, everybody. Go ahead, Sean.
No, that was me. I just had to, respond to Freddie again because Freddie is talking about. So he said that he could match what I was saying, right? And he would use the shooters of today's game, right? So Freddie, all you have to do really, and bro, I hate to do this to you, but all you have to do really is seriously go on to just about any site that you want to. And you look at greatest shooters of all time, and the only guys that you would find basically in this era of basketball, you would probably find Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, I believe, and I would say maybe Kyle Korver. But then when you look down that list, you're going to see players from the 90s era and before, bro. And it's just that simple. So when you say that the best shooters are in this era, you've lost your fucking mind, bro. Because I can guarantee you that you will see Larry Bird up there all the time, Steve Nash. You'll see Peja Stojakovic, Steve Kerr, Glenn Rice, Dale Ellis. You'll see you'll see Kevin Garnett. Chauncey Billups, Jeff Hornacek, Craig Hodges. Those are the guys that you will see, and the greatest of all time, bro. This is not this era. So you could not match me when I say post players. You got to learn your old school basketball. You go look right now and then come back with your comment. You're going to see a handful of players from today's era, but that list is going to be comprised of guys from far back. Trust me.
Damn, DJ Jefferson came with them CVS receipts full of shooters. Here's two guys that probably won't even get mentioned, and I know this because I saw these guys growing up. 3D Dennis Scott. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
Great three-point shooter who played for the Orlando Magic. How about Dale Ellis when he played for the Seattle Supersonics? Another great three-point shooter. Those guys just didn't take that many threes, but these are two of the best three-point shooters, you know, in their time when they played. I mean, you could talk about also Dana Barros. That's another guy.
I mean, John Paxton, BJ Armstrong. Like, don't even get me started, bro. Like, I'm telling you, Freddie, you got to do your research before you make these kind of obsolete comments. And I'm just, I mean, seriously, dude. And you talk about the average player. No, the jump shot, the free throw shooting. This was mandatory back then, bro. It was mandatory. The only guys back then in those eras that weren't expected to have a decent jump shot were the big men, the post players.
And before you continue with that, D, shout out to Maurice Martin, Mark Price, a dude who doesn't get mentioned enough in his time. One of the best shooters of his time. People refer to him as kind of a mini Steve Nash in his heyday.
And what about his big man? I didn't mean to cut you off, Lewis, but what about Mark Price's big man, Freddie? Brad Daugherty. Shooter.
Another one.
Come on, dude. You don't want to do this. I'm telling you don't want to do
this. There's a lot of guys, man. I'm telling you, man. It's like if you really do your NBA history, there's a lot of great all-time shooters. Like at least in their time, maybe not all time in terms of three-point shooting, but at least when they played, like they were guys who you feared, when they had the chance to shoot the basketball on their basketball teams. And like I said, Mark Price doesn't get enough credit. He was one of the best point guards at that time. You know, when it came to he reflects the modern day NBA, and he's a guy who in today's NBA he would definitely flourish, man. For sure. So as we continue, and shout out, Drazen Petrovic. How can I forget that guy?
Right. And then when you talk about Steph Curry, look at his dad, Dale Curry.
Dale Curry, exactly.
What are you talking about, bro? That shit was inherited with the Currys, dude.
I mean, for sure, man. I'm telling you, man. Okay, so once again, and shout out to Maurice, man. Mookie Blaylock, another guy, and a defensive piece. I kind of call him the Patrick Beverly of his time, just without the antics, just because of the fact that he could shoot the three and definitely took the challenge of guarding, the point guards. And even he at times would even guard Michael Jordan. Here's another guy. I got two guys off the bat, and I'm pretty sure you guys know these guys. How about Thunder Dan Marley? How about
Killer?
How about Danny Ainge? I mean, did people forget about him? Another great three-point shooter. So there's a lot. I tell you, there's a lot of guys. So the next topic right here we're gonna talk about. And I know Anthony was kind of going on it, and shout out to Maurice who says, "Yup, it's true." Like these are a lot of these guys get kind of slept on. You talking about Vashawn Leonard, Jamal Mashburn. I mean, there's a lot of these Allen Houston. I mean, there's just a lot of these guys who played. So the next one, guys, and Sean, I wanted to start with you. And Anthony was talking about in terms of current players. I'm not talking about current players. Who, in your opinion, would you have on your Mount Rushmore all time? You could put them in order.
In today's era, or
it doesn't have. It could be your choice. It could be in order, or it doesn't have to be in an order. Who do you have on your top 4 in terms of Mount Rushmore? And ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section, who do you have on your 4 in terms of your Mount Rushmore all time great? So Sean, go ahead and you start, and then we'll go down to the next one.
Wow. Of course, it's Jordan. I also have to put Kareem.
Okay.
Let me see. I'll put Magic over there, and
Okay.
my fourth one.
You need 5, buddy.
No. Mount
Oh,
Rushmore's 4.
Oh, 4, 4. I'm sorry. You're right.
I want. I will. Yeah, I'll probably might have to say Wolf because of how people always put statistics. That's the way how people look at statistically. I put Will in there too. If we're going to talk about that, yeah, I'll put Will in there too.
Okay, so you said Jordan, you said Kareem, Magic, and Will. That's not a bad list. It's not a bad list. I like it. All right, D. Jefferson, who you got on your top 4 for Mount Rushmore? And then we could kind of extend it to top. We'll extend it to top 10 after that. So that because I like the subjectiveness and I like that. But who are your top 4 in Mount Rushmore? They don't have to be in order.
Yeah, Jordan Kareem is there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go. I got to put the Magic Man there. So Jordan, Kareem, Magic. And it's so tough. It's so tough with the fourth guy because I'll give you guys some names and I'll go ahead and pick one. But I'll give you guys some names and I say Larry Bird, I will say Wilt, and I will say Bill. The problem is which one of those guys do I pick? You know what I mean? That's
right.
But I think I might go with Sean too and put Wilt there because of some of the amazing feats that this guy.
Okay. So who are your 4?
I will put Bill there. Man. I just can't get over those 11 titles, and his defense was phenomenal. So I know that people say, "Oh, well, it was easier," but fuck all that, bro. I gotta put Bill there. Yeah, I gotta put Bill.
So you said Jordan, Kareem, Russell, and Magic. Is that your 4?
Jordan, Kareem, Bill Russell, and Magic. Yep, that would be my 4. Yep.
Okay, no problem. I liked it. All right. Oh, and shout out to Josh real quick before I get back. Another guy who doesn't get enough credit and one of the best 6 men of his time. On that great Seattle Supersonics team. Exactly, D. For sure. Yep. Okay, so and ladies and gentlemen, you could put your 4 in the comment section as your Mount Rushmore all time. Now, for me, this is gonna be me. I'm on agreement with D. Jefferson, and in no order. These are the guys who I had at the very beginning. Jordan, the reason being is just because of what he meant to the game of basketball, turning the game global. And like I said, with his electricity, his flair, and when you go to his stats and his advanced stats, they're unbelievable, especially with along with his accomplishments. So if you notice what I'm doing, I'm putting total body of work. Then I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the only guy, in my opinion, who can go toe-to-toe with MJ when it comes to accomplishments. This guy won in high school, this guy won in college, and this guy won in the NBA as well. The only thing that Kareem didn't win was a gold medal. If he would have had a gold medal, you could damn near say a damn perfect career. It's just, when it came to finals MVPs, he doesn't have as many, especially because the ones that he did win one in Milwaukee and then he won one in LA, but the one he won in LA was kind of like at the tail end, still productive. So I got Jordan and Kareem. I got Bill Russell because, in my opinion, he's the greatest defensive player in NBA history, number 1. And then number 2, Boston won, I believe they won 8 titles in a row when he played before he retired and became a coach and he became a player coach. And when you look at Bill Russell, the Celtics were the true dominant dynasty when he played. I mean, George Mikan, who doesn't get enough credit, was the first dynasty in NBA history. But what I'm saying, when you looked at the most dominant in terms of 8 consecutive championships in a row, I mean, you can't ignore that, even if it was an easier time. Like, I'm not going to take away what Bill Russell did, so I got to have Bill Russell up there at number 3. And then number 4, I'm looking at Irvin Magic Johnson for this reason. I never seen a guy. We looked at point guards, and point guards were at average height anywhere from 5-something to 6. At the very least 6'2" or 6'3". This guy Magic Johnson came in at 6'9". revolutionized is basically saying you can be tall and play the point guard position. I look at a guy like Magic who, in his rookie year, won Finals MVP. He was able to play 5 positions. I mean, this is one of the most. This is a guy who played point guard and proved that he was one of the most versatile players in NBA history, and he did this at 20 years old. And in my opinion, Magic, along with Larry Bird, those guys saved the NBA. So when I look at it from that perspective, and then once those guys came in, you look at the pool of players that came in the 80s, man. Like, it made the NBA very entertaining, and it was arguably the most fun to watch in that time, just because of the amount of great players that played in the 80s. So I think that that's why, in my opinion, that I put Magic in that regard, just because of what he revolutionized. You know, uh, so Maurice says, before I kind of he says, I think Hakeem is the greatest defensive player of all time. Russell had like 12 teams to deal with. I mean, I understand that. And, Hakeem is in the more modern era when it comes to that. Hakeem also has a defensive player of the year. But you have to also take into account that when Russell played, a lot of these awards did not exist. A lot of them started to happen once Russell retired. That's when a lot of these awards started to come in, especially even with Wilt Chamberlain too. And which you got to give credit. And I'm going to say this about Wilt. This guy still has over 80 NBA records, and he doesn't get, the respect that he deserves. Definitely an all-time great, and he dominated. Even if we want to talk about, the era, I give Hakeem a lot of credit in that he dominated, this era. In the modern era, in terms of like he was able to do more with less, playing in the 90s. So I got to give him a lot of credit. So now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where it gets very
real quick, Lewis. You know what? I was
just
waiting for you to finish, but I just want to get y'all 2 more names, dog, that we didn't even drop on Freddie. Glenn Rice and Dale Ellis.
Oh yeah, Glenn Rice. Yeah.
And Glenn Rice, bro. Like Glenn Rice and Dale Ellis murder from back. I mean, just shooters, period. I'm not talking about just 3-point shooters, because his comment was about shooters. You know what I mean? Like Dale Ellis was bangers, bro.
Okay. Before I continue, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to my man right here, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream for the first time ever. My man, as I always like to call him, one of my true supporters from day one, along with Sean and, D, coming through. Shout out to my man, Josh. The GOAT is in the building, man. Shout out to you, brother. What is going on, man?
What's going on, everybody? Happy holidays. What's going on, D? Lewis, what's up, man? Panel, chat, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Everybody's doing great, man. Everybody's doing great. And I know you've been listening to this, pretty much listening to this conversation. So I'm going to extend it to the next topic right now, and then we could kind of just open it up a little bit. So this one is going to be interesting, because this one now, I know, and I had to stop D for a second because he kind of went like top 5, and I had to say no, Mount Rushmore. Now we're going to extend it, and we're going to stop it there. Your top 10 all-time greatest players, in your opinion, and he's always mentioned, this is subjective. So it doesn't matter who you got, because at the end of the day, it's your opinion. So in your opinion and your list, and I'm going to start with you, Josh, and then we could go D, then Sean, and then I'll finish off this one. So Josh, who do you have on your list for the top 10 greatest players of all time? Now, before you start, I'm just going to say that we can't list pretty much a lot of the current players that are playing. LeBron kind of is the exception, because he's already played 17. He's already in his 17th season, so he's going to have a little bit of a stronger case, just because a lot of the guys that retired already, they put in their body work, and LeBron's kind of done that. Kevin Durant and these other guys don't really kind of have a case. I got to see what they do when he comes back. But unless if you want to put him there, that's fine. That's your take. But go ahead, Josh. Who are your top 10 greatest players of all time in your opinion? Josh, are you there? Looks like Josh stepped out for a second. Don't know where he's at, but hopefully he gets back soon. So we're gonna move to you, Sean. In your opinion, who are the top 10 greatest players that you have on your list? Go ahead.
Okay, man. All right, let me start at number 10. I'll give it to Tim Duncan. Number 9 is LeBron. Number 9, Actually, nah. May switch up. Number 10, I'll put LeBron James at number 10.
Okay.
Tim Duncan at number 9. Number 8, I had to put Hakeem.
Okay.
Number 7, I had to put Shaq. Number 6, I put Will in number 6. Number 5, I put Kobe. 4, I put Magic in there. 3, man, I know the first two is Jordan and Kareem. Number 3,
Okay.
I might have just put. Dang, I don't even know what I put for number 3. But yeah, just come back to me on that one.
All right, so number 3 is a question mark. Okay, got it. All right. So look like Josh was away for a second. Let me get him back on. So so you said that you got number 10, Tim Duncan. No, you said number 10 you got LeBron. Number 9 you got Tim Duncan. You said number 8 you got Hakeem. You said number 7 is Shaq. Who did you say number 6 was? You said Wilt?
I put Will in number 6.
Okay, then you got Kobe at number 5. You said Magic at 4, and then you don't know who number 3 is, and then your top 2 are Jordan and Kareem. Got it. All right, Josh. So same question I asked Sean.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Josh.
All right.
All right. So just same question I asked Sean, Josh, and I'm just gonna ask you who your top 10 players of all time are. And before you get started, so basically Sean said number 10 was he said it was LeBron. He said number 9 was Tim Duncan for him. He said number 8 was Hakeem. He said number 7 was Shaq. He said number 6 was Wilt. He says number 5, in his opinion, is Kobe. He says 4 is Magic. He doesn't know who number 3 is on his list yet. And then he said the top 2 are Kareem, and he has Jordan at number 1. So after listening to that, Josh, who do you have in your top 10 all-time greatest list? Go ahead. Get it.
Did Josh?
Yeah, I think you got technical difficulties.
Oh, probably.
Well, let me go ahead. Yeah, let me go ahead and do this. And I hate to cheat, guys, but I'm not going to give a specific order because I don't like giving a specific order. I will give you guys 10 players.
Okay.
It's kind of tough to devise a specific order right off cue. Of course, Kareem and Jordan, of course, would be at the top. But let me just give you guys these 10 players. So I'm going to give you Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm going to give you Larry Bird.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you Wilt Chamberlain. You know what I mean? I'm going to give you Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James. Those will be the 10 that I have up there. To actually devise them in, order, I would have to sit back and do that. But those will be my top 10 players.
All right, man. I mean, it sounds good. Before I do my top 10, here's what I want to say about this. The one thing that I've hated about the all-time great list is that, number one, as D has mentioned, and as I've always said it before, it's subjective. That's number one. But number two, what I've not liked about it is that if you love a player, I don't have a problem with that. The issue I've always had is when other great players have to be, put down because, they don't do the things that their favorite player does. It doesn't mean that they didn't have some kind of impact on the game of basketball, and they've gotten the respect from their peers and from fans who watched them play, whether you loved them or whether you hated them. So I think that players that constantly get disrespected just to boost and elevate another, I think, to be honest with you, it's ridiculous, and it takes away the integrity just because, like I said, you can't control what year you were born and what era you grew up watching, but we need to appreciate everybody who's played. So that goes from LeBron to KD to, Russ and all these guys now, to all of the greats of the past, like the Barkleys, the Malones, the Kemps, and the Hakeems, and all the guys that played, that have even made the list, like Jerry West, George Mikan. We may have not watched these guys play when they grow up, But when you look at their history and you read about these guys in terms of what they did, you're like, wow, that's something I didn't know about. And so you still got to me, find an appreciation for that, man. So,
True.
So, that to me. So I'm going to go with my top 10 list. And hold on, before I get started, Josh says, I got iPhone. My bad, everyone. Yeah, the thing is, Josh, like, it's not best to use a phone. So you can join the stream on your phone. But I think it's kind of experimental when it deals with that. So I don't know what kind of iPhone you have, but I think that it would be it works best when you got a laptop or when you have or when you even have a desktop or even a tablet. It works well with those because I've had to use a tablet and it's worked well with that. If you have a high-end tablet, that is, but it works well with a laptop or a desktop or a tablet. But phone is kind of
on Wi-Fi, like connected to your Wi-Fi. But if you're out and about, then you get a lot of trouble with the phone.
So when it comes to data service and that, so that's gonna be kind of difficult. Okay, so he says, yeah, I'm away from my laptop, so it's cool. I mean, you could definitely do that. Put your top 10 list over there, though. I just still do appreciate you, for coming on through, man. And I hope you come on the next one. And I'm actually gonna, before I get started with my top 10, and D, I hope you come in for this one, and I hope everybody comes through for this one. I'm doing a second video later on tonight. Probably I want to say probably like around 9 o'clock. This one is gonna be just on NBA topics. We're gonna talk about NBA news, and I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on that. It's about. And remember, Diaz, we said we were talking about trades. We were talking about injuries. We're going to kind of do that, for tonight, for 9 o'clock. So make sure that you guys come and join back on the Lbfwn because we're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff. So, and I think it'd be a very interesting, a bunch of topics to talk about on those because, when it comes to like Jordan Clarkson going to Utah in the trade, LeBron and AD playing on Christmas and all that kind of stuff, thoughts on the Clippers and all that kind of stuff. We're going to kind of open it up, to basically see what we think of on that. So I think that one's going to be just as fun. So stay tuned for that. That's one's going to be at 9 o'clock. And so D, want to make sure that y'all in on that one, man. So, okay, my top 10 greatest players of all time. Number 10, I have Wilt Chamberlain. Number 9, I have LeBron James. Number 7, I have Shaq. Did I say? Hold on. I said hold on.
You said number 7. You skipped number 8.
Oh, I skipped number 8. My bad. Hold on. Number 10, Wilt Chamberlain. Number 9, LeBron James. Number 7, Shaq. Number 8, Shaq. I'm sorry. Look at that. I skipped number 7 again. Number 8, Shaq. Number 7, Hakeem Olajuwon. No, actually, no. Yeah. Hakeem Olajuwon, number 7. Number 6, I got Tim Duncan. The top 5 is really interesting, but I have to go with this. I'm going to go with Larry Bird at number 5. And in my opinion, I think he's a top 5 player. I think I wouldn't be mad if you said that Larry Bird or LeBron James if you want to swap them as the greatest small forward ever. But I just still think that Larry Bird is just to me, he's a slight edge over LeBron in my opinion. But I have him at number 5. If LeBron wins another championship this season, I will put him above Larry Bird. Number 4, I got Magic Johnson. Number 3, I got Bill Russell. I just can't ignore his impact in terms of what he is. Number 2, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And obviously number 1, I got MJ. And the thing is with the Mount Rushmore players, the thing is with them, it's like the reason I have them at number 4. And again, it's subjected to errors, but it's like when you talk to the peers, they have a lot of respect for them. In terms of like, you can make a case that they can arguably be the greatest player of all time. That's where I have my Mount Rushmore, and that's the respect that I have for those players. You can make a case that they're the greatest of all time. You could even say so for Wilt Chamberlain, but the reason that I put those 4 guys above is because they were able to win, and Wilt Chamberlain didn't win championships, but the thing is, his finals record hurts me.
Well,
he won. Yeah, but when you look at Jordan, I look at Jordan, Kareem, I look at Magic, and I look at Bill Russell. Bill Russell, 11 championships, and him impacting those 11 championship teams. I have Magic Johnson winning 5 championships with 3 finals MVPs and 3 regular season MVPs for the Showtime Lakers in the 80s. Kareem winning 6 titles and 6 regular season MVPs with 2 finals MVPs and being on 6 championship teams and being with the Showtime Lakers. And then obviously you got Michael Jordan, 6-0 in the finals, 5 regular season MVPs, 6 finals MVPs. It's like those guys, as Wilt Chamberlain has a lot of dominant statistics, and I'll never take away from what he accomplished. And Wilt Chamberlain, I believe he won 4 regular season MVPs in his own right. But when it comes to winning, that's where it hurts him in terms of being as the greatest. But I'm not mad at you if you put him as the greatest of all time, or at least in the top 5. I don't mind that. So, because remember, this at the end of the day is all subjective. But in my opinion, that's where I have those 4 gentlemen over the other 6 in terms of winning. And the thing is with Shaq is Shaq had a case to be a Mount Rushmore player, but I just felt like he kind of gave off a little bit off the table, in my opinion, for me to say that he
over.
Say it again, Sean.
I say he screwed himself over by being lazy.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. Like, for me, because the thing was, Shaq won 4 titles and he won 3 finals MVPs. Like, he won in the prime of his career. He won those championships. So I said, just imagine that if Shaq kind of put in more work ethic. I think if he would have conditioned himself well, I could say Shaq probably could have got himself another title. Maybe he could have possibly himself 1 more regular season MVP. And then you could have possibly put himself as 1 more finals MVP. That puts you at 5 titles, 2 regular seasons MVPs. That means you were the best player multiple times, and you won 4 finals MVPs. His case is a lot stronger in terms of the greatest of all time, because Shaq still scored 28,000 points. It's just some of the times that he wasn't healthy, he kind of became a role player, and he kind of became a journeyman right after his stint with the Miami Heat. So that's why I don't put Shaq as high as those other gentlemen, because he really could have been up there, man. So, and shout out to Josh, man. Even if you don't get on here one more time, it's okay. Like I said, you could come back late at 9 o'clock because we're gonna have fun with this. And Sean, if you're not busy, I would love for you to come through. For the 9 o'clock one, because this one is gonna be kind of more so today's basketball, and I think it's gonna bring up an interesting conversation.
Hey, Anthony L got a decent list. Anthony L said his top 10 is Kareem, Magic, Jordan, Duncan, Bird, Wilt, Russell, Moses Malone, and Hakeem.
Ooh, let me click that real quick.
I like that list, Anthony L.
Let me click that. Freddie Geese. I'll get to Freddie Geese comment in a sec. Oh man, I know that dude loves him some Bron James, but Anthony L says my top 10: Jordan, Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Duncan, Bird, Wilt, Russell, Moses, and Hakeem.
Yep.
Moses Malone, in my opinion, doesn't get enough credit for how this guy is one of the most underrated players and most impactful players in NBA history. That dude doesn't get enough credit, and I wouldn't be mad at you if you put him in the top 10. Because when he came on the Philadelphia 76ers in the 82 offseason, this guy won finals MVP for those 83 76ers that won 65 games and impacted. I think the Sixers went 12-1. That was before they did the 4 division format. They did the 4 rounds. This was 3 rounds, and the Sixers went 12-1. And they almost ran the table in the playoffs in that 83 postseason. Moses Malone doesn't get enough credit, and I think he scored close to 27,000 points. One of the most underrated and more impactful players in NBA history. No question about it. And this guy was drafted out of high school because I don't think he played in college. So let me just look in the comments real quick. Jay says, Shaq didn't always stay hungry. Facts. An always hungry Shaq would have been scary. Facts. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
And I said that this is what's missing from today's players, especially when it comes to the value of the almighty dollar and these players getting these contracts. Shaq had a case for the greatest player of all time. These players can be great. I just don't like the work ethic of some of these dudes, man. When I look at Karl Anthony Towns and even a guy like, again, even Andrew Wiggins, these guys could definitely be great. It's about mindset and it's about work ethic. Do you want to be great? But I just feel like the value of the dollar is what's really killing these players, man.
Yeah,
it's not just the dollars, also in time. I feel like players are getting too entitled these days, as far as privilege and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Josh put his list in the chat, Lewis.
Say it again.
I say Josh put his list in the chat.
Oh, let me go to Josh's list, man. So Josh says his top 10 was, before I go to Maurice, I'll check your comment real quick, man. And let me see. He says my top 10 are MJ, Russell, Kareem, Bird, Magic, Hakeem, Duncan, Kobe, Shaq, Wilt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Okay. So I see that both Anthony L and Josh do not have LeBron James in their top 10. Understandable. At the end of the day, it's your list. I can understand. And I'm pretty sure that they have a case as to why LeBron is not on their top 10. But I have LeBron at number 9 on my list. So does D and Sean. So let me look.
I put Russell on number 3 on my list because of the impact of his rings.
Yeah,
I agree.
So
and people forget that when Russell, before Russell got there, the Celtics, they didn't win a championship until he got there. So the minute he got drafted, and that's why I said that Russell's one of the most impactful players in history. Especially, he may have not been an offensive scorer, but you didn't have to worry about that. It's like, you ever hear the term of you can dominate a game without scoring the basketball? Well, that's what Bill Russell was. When his points were necessary, he gave him the points. But he was the dominant defensive player that he was, and this is why I call him the greatest defensive player of all time. If the defensive player award existed in his time, this guy would have probably won maybe 5, 6, maybe even 7 defensive player of the year awards. That's how impactful he was on the defensive end. Yeah. And you didn't have to even worry because the offensive players on the perimeter, they could lead them right into Russell. And the thing is, he was great in the post, and he was a great help defender. So it just goes to show you the impact that he had. So let me just go. Where
do you rank like Dennis Rodman as far as like defensive players? If you want to compare with
right behind Russell, in my opinion.
Dennis Rodman doesn't get. It's crazy how this dude doesn't get enough credit for the great defender he was. Because if you look at his days in Detroit, you know what? And it's funny. This is why I said that NBA topics. Like we could definitely like open these discussions up on the next video that I'm gonna do. And like I said, D. Like I said, I want you on that one if you're not busy, bro. And like I said, people who want to come on the stream and want to come and want to debate and want to talk, like definitely hop on the Lbfwn later on. And like I said, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Make sure to share the stream. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a priority. You don't need to, but if you would like to, on the ticker, it shows where to donate the Cash App, as you see right there. If you do have Cash App, that is. And appreciate you guys for coming on here. But like I was saying, to answer your question, Sean, Dennis Rodman in his Detroit days, he would guard. This guy was guarding wing players in his Detroit days. He was guarding wings. And I remember the 89 finals, he guarded Magic right before Magic got injured with his hamstring. But he was guarding wings. He was guarding Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan. It was when he went to San Antonio and when he came to Chicago in the mid-90s that he started guarding power forwards and centers in the 90s. So I said that when we talk about versatility, and Rodman was kind of like a tale of two halves when it comes to his defensive career, and he's a 2-time defensive player of the year. Dennis Rodman, almost you could kind of say, guarded all 5 positions. So when you talk about versatile defenders, Dennis Rodman is up there among the greatest defensive players of all time. And with D, I would actually put him as the second best right there, because of his versatility and his ability to guard people. His ability to get physical. Dennis was one of the smartest defensive players and basketball minds in NBA history.
Queen Layla just stepped in the building. Sorry, Lewis. I just had to give her that respect. Queen Layla in the building. Go ahead and click that link, Queen Layla.
Shout out to Layla. Layla, if you want to come on this panel, I left the link at the very, 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 very beginning. At the very beginning, if you want to come on this panel and discuss, and we'll kind of go through the topics, once again. And I would love to get your thoughts on this. So Layla, please definitely come through. So
you so might just go all in again now, Lewis.
I'm gonna put the invitation back on. So thank you, D, for saying that. I'm gonna put that back on. So Layla, if you want to come on, here it is, and come on. We'll be waiting for you. So definitely come on through. And ladies and gentlemen, again, smash that like button, hit the subscribe, and make sure to share the stream. So like Sean, answering your question, bro. Like I was saying, I definitely think that Dennis Rodman, to me, you could put him number 2. you could definitely put him as number 2 behind Bill Russell in terms of dominant defensive players of all time. For like I said, how versatile that guy was on the defensive end. And he guarded, like I said, he guarded wing players in his first stint with Detroit. And then as he got older and went to San Antonio and went with Chicago, this guy started guarding the big men. He started guarding power forwards and centers. So, and it doesn't get enough credit. So in terms of all-time greats, I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this Hall of Fame 2020 induction that is coming up. And so this is going to be very interesting because of the players that they have, going into the Hall of Fame, at least for finalists. And who do you guys feel should definitely been a finalist for this year and that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? So here is the NBA Hall of Fame list for 2020. As I pull it up, so here are the candidates. we have Kobe Bryant, we have Sean Marion, we have Kevin Garnett, we have Tim Duncan, and we have Chris Bosh, we have Tamika Catchings, we have Swin Cash. Let's see, who else do we have? Amari Stoudemire.
Amari retiring?
Amari is an eligible candidate right now.
Wow. Okay.
So we have him. Let's look at the class real quick. Let me see who else is on there.
How many do they induct?
So it depends on who they want to put as the finalist in terms of who deserves to be in that all year. Sometimes it could be 3, it could be 4. I mean, the thing is, they even go through like college coaches and all that kind of stuff because it's like the Naismith Hall of Fame. Right. So they go through like a whole bunch of guys. Let me see who else is on here. Here we go. Let me click. So I mentioned Kobe, KG, and that. Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace, Chris Webber. So, who, in your opinion, guys, are sure locks? Who, in your opinion, are not going to get in their first ballot, but might get in there in the second ballot? And who do you think deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and who does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? So, D, I'm going to start with you, man.
Yeah. Let me crank this off because I was itching.
D said, "Gotta look at it, man."
Tim Duncan, Swing Cash, and Kobe Bryant are locks. Lock them in. And I don't see, I believe they all deserve to go in first ballot. Like just as soon as they, it's a shame that they ain't in already, the way I look at those 3 players. Swing Cash, and I don't know, like I watch in WNBA, and I don't know if you guys do, but that girl's a beast, man. She was a certified beast. All right. But, just moving over to the NBA, it's no way that you don't put Kobe and Tim Duncan in. It's no way. So first off, I'm going to say that those 3 are a lock. Okay. The guys that I think that will make it maybe on their second, I actually only have one on that list that the second time around that they will make it is KG. KG was on that list, right?
Yeah. And
then Tamika Catchings will make it on her second for the NBA. The other guys, man, that you mentioned, I don't want to say like, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire. I don't want to say that they don't deserve it because these guys were good players in their own right. Don't get me wrong. But when you look at like an Amari Stoudemire, right, and you compare him to a Charles Barkley, right? Charles Barkley deserved to go. If it wasn't for that fucking Jordan, that dude would have definitely had a ring. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can't really say that about Amari. And I don't like to say that they don't deserve to go. I can't say that about Nash either. I mean, not Nash, Sean Marion either, because Jordan pretty much destroyed his ring with Utah. So I don't want to say that these guys don't deserve it. You know what I mean? But I don't think that, I think that I think there's other players that will go before them. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But definitely Kobe, Tim, and Swin. Like I can see them just, shaking their hands, walking across the stage, and getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Right off the bat.
Okay. And before Sean gives his answer, and then I give my answer, whatchamacallit, when we do that, we're going to give some honorable mentions, and then I'm going to see what you guys think, if you guys think that they deserve to be on there too. So Sean, go ahead. What do you think about the 2020 Hall of Fame classes coming up in terms of the finalists? Who do you think is a lock? Who do you think will get in on the second ballot? Who do you think deserves to, and who do you think should not be in the Hall of Fame?
I think personally for me, I don't think Amari Stoudemire deserved to be in the NBA. In the Hall of Fame. I don't even think Sean Marion. Actually, nah. Yeah, I don't think Amari Stoudemire deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. Me personally, I don't think he did enough to be in there. Obviously, Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan is easy to lock. KG 2, second ballot. Yeah, that's about it. Just the typical options.
What about the ladies, man? You forgot about Catchings and Swing Cash.
Yeah, I don't know if you see them. I don't know if you ever saw them play.
I did not really watch as much as WNBA, man. Like I recently I am watching it. I recently am watching the WNBA, but like as far as like often, I did not really watch it often until recently. So my knowledge is limited.
Okay. Okay, so here we go with me. So when I look at this list, I can tell you who should not be on here, and this is with all due respect because I'm huge fans of these guys when I watch them play, especially in their time with the Phoenix Suns. Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion. I just feel like those guys, as much as Sean Marion was very durable in his 16 seasons, and I give him a lot of credit, he made 4 All-Star teams. But it's like when you divide his career, it's like he's making an All-Star team every 4 years. That's one. And then it's like he only made the All-NBA team twice in his 16 seasons. And so I feel like that, to me, he wasn't one of those players that kind of stood out. He was a very good player, don't get me wrong, and they don't call him the Matrix for nothing. He had a couple of seasons where he averaged 10 rebounds. But remember what kind of style of play that he played in. He played in that up and down system with Mike D'Antoni. So, and if you look at today's era, I'm not saying that it's easy to get rebounds, but a lot of the inflated numbers when guys get rebounds is because of the long shots that you take when you play that style of play. And with Amari Stoudemire, Amari to me was on his way to a Hall of Fame career. It's just that his injuries, like Sean and D have said, he didn't do enough for me to say that he's a Hall of Fame player. But no doubt he was great. And what Anthony L was saying is true. Amari's still trying to come back into the league. So that's why they're out. Kobe, Tim, and Kevin Garnett to me are automatic locks, just for the fact that if you look at their body of work, it's like you can't question it. I mean, KG is a 9-time first-team All-NBA defender. This guy made he made 14 All-Star teams, I believe. Tim Duncan made 15. Tim Duncan is a first-team. Wait. Before I continue, we got a special guest in the building, man, representing the ladies out here. And D had shouted her out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lbfwn for the first time ever, Layla.
Hi guys. Hi.
What's up, Layla?
What's up, Layla?
Hi guys. I'm in the middle of cooking, so I can't say the whole thing because we celebrate. Okay. We Puerto Ricans, we celebrate on the 24th, and my niece is here and everybody's like for opening gifts. So I don't want to interrupt, but I just wanted to go in and say hi so you guys can actually see me.
All right, awesome, man. Good to see you, Layla, man. Layla looking great, man. Shout out to your family, and hope you
can't
guys
see anything. We only see a screen that Lewis got an overlay up.
All right, hold on. Hey, hold on. I can take it off. I mean, like, oh, you roll. Look. Being the nice guy that I am, check it out.
Yeah. I'm going blind right now.
See, now we can see each other live.
No. Yeah. So, do you guys want me to answer something real quick, or like, what's the thing?
Sure. Because so what I mentioned is that I don't know if you were hearing, but I mentioned about the 2020 Hall of Fame finalists that are coming up. I mentioned, so I wanted to see what you think about this list. So we have Kobe, Tim, Kevin, Chauncey, Ben Wallace, Chris Webber, Michael Finley, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, Tamika Catchings, and Swin Cash. And there's honorable mentions on there, but that's like a huge long list, and I don't want to hold up your time. But quickly, who do you think is a lock for the Hall of Fame? Who do you think will get on the second ballot? And then who do you think, in your opinion, should not be on that ballot and should be not be in the Hall of Fame? And that's with all due respect.
I mean, I think the first 5 that you mentioned, those are locks. I mean, Ben Wallace. Did you say Rashid?
I didn't mention Rashid.
Why is it?
I think he's an honorable mention. No, I think he's an honorable mention, but he's not in.
Wait, Ben Wallace is not
because I'm upset.
Huh?
No. I was talking about Ben Wallace, not Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah, I'm upset about Rashid. But yeah, Ben Wallace. I mean, all of those, they're all part of that Detroit dynasty, even though there's like this big mess going on with them right now. But yeah, I mean, I don't think. I mean, the last 3 that you mentioned were a little bit not, like they didn't come to my mind right away. So those are probably the ones that I would leave out, like right off the back. If I had the list in front of me, because I can't remember like everything you said, because I'm like, I got 10 things going at once. But yeah, I think the first 5 are a lock. Obviously, Kobe. I mean, who's gonna say Kobe? I mean, who's gonna say? I mean, besides Max Kellerman, probably.
Yeah.
But
haters.
He is a hater. But yeah. Besides those last 3 that I can't really pinpoint, everybody else is pretty much a lock. How many can you get in there?
It really depends, because what they're gonna do is they're gonna announce the finalists in February, and then they're gonna do the enshrinement in April, and then the actual ceremony will be in September. So we still have to wait on who's gonna be in February, but it's like I already pretty much have a feeling on who's gonna get in. But the reason that what I wanted to talk about is Chris Webber, and that to me he's very interesting. He's another one.
Yes.
In my opinion, he should be a lock, but I think what they're doing is that they're holding that whole Michigan scandal against him to this day, and which I don't understand, because this has to do with your NBA career. And I mean, they're gonna choose and put the college career combined, put it together, and like it's like he had such an impact in not only college basketball but in the NBA when he was healthy. But I think Kobe, Tim, and Kevin are obviously locks, because I mean, you look at Kobe, he made 18 All-Star teams in 20 years. Like, you can't ignore that. The guy made 9 defensive first-team All-NBA, 12 selections overall. Like, how could you ignore that? Tim Duncan, 5-time champion, as Kobe is. Duncan won 5 rings, 2 MVPs, 3 finals MVPs, 15-time All-Star. Like, you can't ignore that. KG made 14 All-Star teams, an MVP, won a championship, a Defensive Player of the Year. Like, when you listen to those accolades, it's like you can't ignore. It's like I could go on and on about those guys, but those are automatic locks.
Chauncey That's why Billups he's top 10 all time in my book.
Who?
Kobe, right?
Kobe. Yeah, no, he could be in the top 10. I know a lot of people who don't like Kobe would say that he's, not top 10, and they have their reasons. I don't have Kobe in my top 10, but it's not because out of hate, but I have my reasons as to why he's not. He's kind of like knocking on the door of the top 10. I have him 11 on my list.
One little thing before you continue, like if you're gonna keep Chris Webber out for that, then they're gonna keep Kobe out for whatever it is, because it was worse. So that's not an excuse.
That's true. Because remember, remember Kobe's rape trial, and this was while he played in the league. And remember that
So that shouldn't come
Kobe,
into question.
because Kobe would have went to jail, and Kobe would have been a what if. Kobe probably would have been one of the most forgotten people in NBA history ever if that rape trial if those charges weren't dropped. So Layla, you make an excellent point on that, which is very true, and that kind of sleeps over people's heads. If they're going to keep Chris Webber out, then even with what Kobe accomplished, he's lucky because he almost didn't get to accomplish that due to what happened back in 03. So that is a very great point. And the reason what I say with Chris Webber is that everywhere that you think of what he did in the Fab Five with Jalen and with Jawan Howard and those boys, Ray Jackson, with the baggy shorts, and they took it to a whole nother level with college basketball, wearing all black sneakers. Like, you can't ignore that. And then when he went into the NBA, made the playoffs with the Warriors in his only season there, Rookie of the Year, went to the Bullets, they became a playoff team, went to the Sacramento Kings, they became a playoff team. And if you remember those great Kings teams, I'm going to say it right now, the 2002 Kings, and this should be a future video one of these days, one of the greatest teams to never win an NBA championship, those 2002 Kings. And they should have won at that time. So I think that when you look at Chris Webber's impact, he has a definite case to make the Hall of Fame when you look at his college and basketball career. Very impactful. And you see what he's doing right now with, TNT. Doing an amazing job, too, when you consider that. And then Chauncey Billups is the most another interesting one as well, because this guy is one of the most underrated, impactful leaders in NBA history. He doesn't get enough credit. People talk about LeBron's 8 straight finals, and don't get me wrong, that's still a heck of an accomplishment, whether we like it or not. And I know people are going to be like, because of, whatever. But Chauncey doesn't get enough credit for the 7 straight conference finals that he made with Detroit. And then when he got traded to Denver with Carmelo and those guys, going up against the Lakers, they almost made the finals in his first year there in Denver. So I think that Chauncey Billups, to me, has a strong case. I think that he might not make the second ballot. In my opinion, he probably might not make the first ballot, and I hope he does, though, because he doesn't get enough credit for the impact that he had in the league. And this is a guy who was a high draft pick, who was bouncing around in the league, and he didn't find his niche until he was a bench player for the Timberwolves. And then when he went to Detroit, won a championship, with that great Detroit team with Rasheed, with the Wallace brothers and Rasheed and Ben, and with Rip Hamilton, knocking down the Lakers, who should have won that series, in my opinion. Don't get enough credit. Great defensive team. So I think Chauncey deserves to be there. And I just want to speak on Tamika Catchings and Swin Cash real quick. I've seen both of them. Yeah, those are the other those are the other candidates. To me, they're locks because they've been on championship teams. I've seen them both play. Tamika Catchings, all-time WNBA ranks in scoring. She's been a former Defensive Player of the Year. She went to 10 All-Star teams. Tamika Catchings, there's no question. She led the league in steals 4 times. It just tells you what kind of level she was on the defensive end. Swin Cash also, definitely, she was on 4 championship teams, and definitely was a key contributor to all of those. And both of them all time in the WNBA in terms of ranking. I think they're in the top 10 all time in scoring. If you were to equate that into basketball numbers, it'd be, they would definitely be up there. So shout out to both ladies. And I think that they're both deserving to be in the Hall of Fame if you look at their career. And I'm pretty sure when they do the ceremony, they're going to pretty much break it down and they do the enshrinement. So, that's my shout out to all 3. So really quick, I'm going to mention 3 names.
And
I want you guys to say, should they have been in the Hall of Fame or they don't deserve to be there at all. So I'm going to throw 3 names out there.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with you, Layla. Then we could go Layla, D, and then we're going to go with Sean to round out. So here's the first name that I'm going to mention. Michael Finley. Do you think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame?
No.
I'll second that. And let me say this right quick, Layla. I did not know you were Puerto Rican. Now I like you. No, now I like you even more because I'm Black and Puerto Rican.
That's what I'm talking about.
And Layla, get this. Él no habla español y eres boricua.
No hablas español. Pero ¿cómo es posible que tú no hables español?
Hold up.
No, decepción total.
Yeah, but that's fucked up that Lewis said that, because I told him before I can understand and I speak. So motherfucker, I know what you just
you know what? Not good enough, D, not good enough. But
I know.
No qualifique. So sorry, D, you don't qualify, my brother.
No califica. Yo estoy haciendo arroz con pollo, pasteles, pernil. Estamos comiendo súper rico. Pero go ahead, Michael Finley.
I'm Americanized.
All right, Sean, what do you think, man?
I'm like the only Nigerian in the chat.
Still ethnic. That's what I'm talking about.
Diversity, man. All right, Sean, do you think Michael Finley deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? Yes or no?
No. Nah.
Okay. Here's another player. Richard Hamilton. Do you think he needs to go in? Starting with you, D.
That, I think that he could make second or third. I'm not going to say he shouldn't go in because he was so solid, man. The dude was solid, and he got a ring. So,
Okay. Sean, what do you think?
I think he's second ballot.
Second? Okay. Second. What about you, Layla?
Right away. That's my boy. I know him. I mean, I think you guys didn't see him at the beginning. Like, his career went from, maybe I'm a little biased, but I mean, he was not supposed to be what he became. And he just exceeded everybody's expectations. He was one of my best friends, boyfriends. I mean, he exceeded everybody's expectations, and he is, I think he should go in because I know the backstory. But I could see why you guys would say, you know what I mean? Because of a Chris Webber type of situation, even though Chris Webber didn't win a ring, but, yeah.
Right. Okay, awesome. All right. Here's another name. Tim Hardaway. Sean, what do you think? Tim Hardaway.
Influence-wise, yeah, I think he should. Not like second ballot, I say third ballot at best. But yeah, I know he did not like put that enough work, but because of the way the game is, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame because of influence.
Yeah. It's kind of a toss-up with Hardaway for me. I would say maybe third, but if he didn't get in, I wouldn't be heartbroken. I say that. I would say maybe third ballot, but if he didn't get in, I wouldn't be heartbroken about it.
All right, what do you think, Layla?
Emotionally, I say yes, because obviously, I mean, I love him. But I mean, I'm not sure that, impact or, that's part of the criteria. Or emotion. If we, I just remember his games so vividly because he was part of, such important teams. But if Chris Webber's not in it, if, oh my God, the other one. There's so many that are not in it, then he shouldn't be in it. So we should be discussing third ballot or second ballot when it comes to Tim.
Right. I agree.
And I'm going to say with Tim Hardaway, I think he should get in, and I think I'm going to put him as a second or third ballot, and the reason being is because he was part of the original Run TMC with The Rock, Mitch Richmond. Oh, that's another name I forgot to mention.
That's a big one.
With Chris Mullin, I should say, who I think definitely deserves his props of getting into the Hall of Fame. Maybe he may not have the numbers, and maybe he, because Tim Hardaway did have some injuries in his career too. And I think his career kind of ended up pretty badly because I think he has some kind of incident. But it kind of piggies back off of what Layla's saying. If you're going to keep Chris Webber out because of that scandal in Michigan, then it's like there's going to be a lot of guys, even guys who are locks, you might as well just keep out because if there's guys who are making the Hall of Fame, with all due respect, There's guys like, if guys like Tracy McGrady are getting in and all that kind of stuff. And listen, T-Mac was a beast in his heyday. Don't get me wrong.
ESPN.
But it's like if he's not, making that, then I feel like that some of these guys, they need to pretty much like X the Hall of Fame, especially with some of the way that these voters are kind of voting, because that bias plays a certain narrative when it comes to votes. It's like with the MVP, it's like with all these others awards, and it's like it's even going into the point of the NBA Finals. It's like, that's the power and the influence of the media. So I'm gonna throw two more names, and then we're gonna close out the show. And like I said, guys, we're gonna come later. 9 o'clock. I'm gonna open it up. All right, go ahead, D.
I just wanted to say this, that some of these guys, we have to realize too, they don't get in because of who they were nominated with. You understand? Mm-hmm. Like, so that's when true. They come up on the ballot and who they're nominated with, it's like they're not going to get in over this guy. And then, you know what I mean? So that just got to kind of, some of them do deserve maybe to be in there, but it's just who they went on that ballot with. Like, you look at Kobe and Tim Duncan being on that ballot now, and if they didn't let Kevin Garnett in on this first ballot because you got Kobe and Tim there, like, how can you blame that? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So that plays a part in it as well. So
okay,
I personally don't think that Kobe's gonna get excluded from the Hall of Fame because of that rape case. I don't think so. I think there's, people also. I just think it is just a petty excuse, in my opinion.
Yeah, he'll get in. He'll get right in, bro. I'm telling you right now. There's no way they're gonna leave Kobe out.
Of course.
It would be a travesty to leave somebody who won 5 titles out of the Hall of Fame. Like, you don't just shut the whole Hall of Fame down. If this man went, and it's not like he was say a Robert Ory, which was a significant piece, but not really the showstopper. No, Kobe was the fucking showstopper. He and Shaq. So you gotta put him in, not for 1, not for 2, but all of those finals. No Kobe, they don't win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Facts.
The outside shouldn't even factor in. That should not be part of the criteria. The criteria should be your NBA career. It should be, what did you do within those lines of the floor, on the court, period. You know what I mean? When you start factoring in getting, Tracy McGrady, I mean, I'm very, very hard when it comes to the Hall of Fame. I don't think Tracy McGrady should have gotten in, and I don't think Chauncey should get in this time, but they're going to get in because of ESPN. That's all I'm saying. But I don't want to create, that's all I'm saying. Watch.
I mean, I know we live in a time like where everybody overblown like other people's controversies in a way. So I understand why people will do that stuff, do that type of like excuse with Kobe, because let's be honest here, they did the same they almost like tried to take Kobe out from his Oscars. So I understand why they wanted to do that too, but yeah, it's just some petty.
I absolutely think he deserved that, bro. Did you that series, man, is amazing. That detail, F all of these actors, man. F those actors they got mad because Kobe got that Oscar. He absolutely deserved that Oscar. That show was, man, come on.
People were protesting outside of the freaking theater. It was hilarious. Sorry. Go ahead, guys.
All right. So the last name that we're going to mention, and then we're going to close out the show, and then we'll come back later on at 9, and we're going to open it up with the NBA topic discussion. And like I said, I appreciate the panel, and I appreciate the chat being here. So last one, like I said, The Rock, Mitch Richmond. Do you think that guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? And then we're going to close out the show. Layla, what do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, the name alone. I mean, I know. Maybe not like the greatest numbers. I mean, but it was a defensive era. I mean, we're not talking about now, I think so. I vote yes.
Okay. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he deserves it.
No question. All right, D?
Second ballot.
What do you think, D?
Second.
All right.
Second,
and I feel like,
man. I mean, you know, second ballot, like the guy's 6-time All-Star, you know, defense, that lockdown defense, three-point shot out of this world. So, yeah, I have to put him in second ballot.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was our show in terms of with Walt Clyde Frazier. So, Layla, basically what we were talking about was Walt Clyde Frazier was basically saying that he didn't have LeBron on his Mount Rushmore, and he mentioned the guys that came before him that he felt like with the way they dominated, he felt like that those guys deserve to be recognized as the Mount Rushmore players. And he had Oscar Robertson, he had Will Chamberlain, he had Bill Russell, and I think he had Kareem. Did I say? Was it Kareem? I believe he had those guys. So he had them, and so he didn't have MJ as like Mount Rushmore. So real quick, and he said he feels like LeBron was not Mount Rushmore, and then he said that he felt like Curry's unanimous MVP kind of put him at that, at that level as at least of a recognition of a Mount Rushmore type player. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that real quick.
Bronzexuals must be seething. Just say it. But what, Curry at LeBron's level? They must be like, what? No, I don't think Curry's at LeBron's level. Just to begin that, just so I don't get hate comments. Number one, but
you're gonna get hate comments regardless.
Mount Rushmore. If you don't have MJ, that's definitely the definition of a hater. And Bronzexuals try to say that all the time, but no, seriously. I mean, if you don't watch that career and you don't see those games and you don't have them up at the Mount Rushmore, I don't know what to tell you. You should stop watching basketball because you don't get it. And the reason why Walt wouldn't have that, and I understand him completely, and I would probably feel the same in a way, is because he's trying to keep his boys alive, like his era, his people. You know what I mean? And if you do a first round of Mount Rushmore, those are the ones that are going to be there. And I don't disagree with him on that whatsoever. But the real Mount Rushmore, you include everybody. MJ's not there. It's not a Mount Rushmore. But I get what he's doing and what he's saying, and we should keep Oscar Robertson name in the news. We should keep Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell, Elgin Baylor, Pistol Pete. I mean, these things, these guys that before that, once you start learning about the game, like you start seeing, oh my God, okay, this is why. And then you start seeing the steps that these guys, and you see we should have 2 Mount Rushmores, if you ask me. The beginning, and then, after the beginning, and then that's it, But yeah, I get it. And come on, we all have to get it. People don't even give Kareem respect anymore. They're putting LeBron number 2. Even if you're putting MJ number 1.
I'm a Laker fan. I've always been a Laker fan.
But even if you put LeBron, even if you put MJ number 1, it's still a disrespect to put LeBron number 2. It is a major disrespect.
Yeah, because it's a hype train. It's always been a hype train with LeBron. So
to me, it's disrespect to put LeBron anywhere in the top 5 at this point.
He's the top 5. I still say he's the top 5. Okay, I still say I am restructuring, but I still say LeBron is the top 5. And why I say that is because even though, and see, you guys can't say I'm a hater, so I don't want comments. But even though he still has managed this whole era. You know what I mean? He's not the main thing. The main thing that people are going to remember about this era are the Golden State Warriors. You cannot take that out. It's history. But the player, you cannot say it's not LeBron. You cannot. There's no way, Now, whatever Kevin Durant does coming up, that's going to see if we eliminate even LeBron from the conversation at that point. But if he does nothing else, it's LeBron. LeBron's the one that's going to exist and going to be in the history books from here on. Not Kevin. But anyway.
I will tell you this. I want to say this. Durant is toast.
Why?
Well, I'm going to expound on this a little bit so we can get out of here. Kevin Durant is toast. He's toast. He won't get in the top 10. He better hope he get into the top 15. Listen, with the way he got his 2 championships, the reason he is trying to do it outside of there because he needs to do it off of that Warriors team to establish that legacy. With the way these teams are building now, he's going to need more when he comes back to the Nets. Are not going to win anything next season. Durant's toast.
All right, guys. So I appreciate it. So, guys, we're going to close out the show. So appreciate everybody for coming through. Thank you to the panel. Like I said, I'll be back at 9 o'clock, and we will discuss on NBA topics. So if anybody wants to jump in, please don't be a stranger and come through.
Yeah, I'll be jumping in.
All right, cool, Sean. So definitely be there. You'll be there. So Layla, start us off. All right, so take care. All right, Sean, any words before we close out?
I'll say I'm glad to be in the being part of the Scream. Like I always promise you, like time after time, like I'm gonna come. I just usually don't even come.
Right. All right, man. D, man, any words, bro, before we close out on that?
Hey, man, appreciate all y'all coming through. I see my man Jose Yepes jump in at the end. What's up, Jose? And hey, y'all make sure y'all come back at 9. Appreciate you, Queen Layla. First time I've been on live with you. Much respect to you. And look, man, everybody enjoy your holidays. Really, stay safe, stay inside. Don't drive drunk. If you drink too much eggnog, just chill out at home, enjoy the family. But we'll see you guys later. And for the love of sports, let's talk about it.
And like I said, I just want to thank everybody. Shout out to Layla for coming through. Queen Layla in the building. Shout out to Sean for coming through. Shout out to D Jeff, as they always do with our partnership at Speaking My Sports, talking to Lbfwn. Thank you for everybody popping through. We're going to close out. I got some things to do before I come back on. But I would say, man, ladies and gentlemen, you know my motto, as I always pound with the chest with the 3 famous L's I always give you. Lewis, will you give it to him one time? Well, certainly. Let's do it right now. Live, laugh, love. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you back later on in a couple of hours. Enjoy, everybody.
Am I still on there?
Yeah, just close out, Layla. I'm gonna end.
Okay.